On YouTube, I believe. Let's get the TikTok live going as well. Okay. Think we're up and running. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Think we're up and running. If you're hopping on TikTok, make sure you're double tapping the screen and letting me know if the audio is working okay. Bit of a new setup. I'm still getting used to it, but don't know how long I'm gonna be live today. We're gonna try to get some debates. It's good. Okay. Does someone want to do me a favor and head on over to YouTube real quick and make sure YouTube's also up and running? It's all good on my end, but I don't want to get deep into this and then realize that something's not working right. All good? Okay. Okay, perfect. So again, I'm not going to be live for super long today. I don't think so, unless we get a bunch of really good debates or there's like some crazy breaking news, but I promised I'd go live every week, so we're going live today. We'll see what the rest of the week holds. We have a call-in number now, by the way. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. Call-in number is 312-834-3216. Again, that is 312-834-3216. That just reminded me to open up the Google Voice thing. Should have that open. But if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're watching on TikTok, make sure you double tap the screen and follow if you're not already following. I don't go live very often. Algorithm does not love me. So, hold on, what are we doing here? So double tapping and following makes a big difference. Okay. I'm just making sure I have my chat up on screen properly. I know there's Florida elections happening today. Is Fishback's election tonight? I'm pretty sure Fishback's election is tonight. I could be wrong on that. It's not exactly a nail biter, but he keeps himself relevant enough that I'm curious to see how much he loses by. Let's see. Fishback. When do polls close in Florida? Yeah, we can. I was gonna do Minecraft. We can start off with that. Am I tripping? Everyone see that? Hold on, let me turn that down. Here. Down. Is that better? Is that too loud? Loud ass music. Okay, is this better? I'm turning the music down. Better or still too loud? Okay, on YouTube, do I still need to lower it? Let me know. Florida polls close in 12 minutes. I really wonder who's going to win. Wow. YouTube volume good? Okay, we have a guest request, I think, actually. Hello? Hey, how old are you? 24. And do you support Trump? Do you disagree with any of the prompts on the screen? Yeah, to what?
Pete's waiting.
Okay, what did you want to debate?
Better head to the raft soon.
Hello? Well, Biden was the president, right? He's not Congress. So what's the argument there? He signed progressive policy. Are you just here to troll or something, or? He had made the child tax credit fully refundable. I mean, we got the American Rescue Plan. We got the infrastructure bill. Well, you know, I never thought about it like that. I guess you could just call it the American Dick Plan and ignore all of the policy, and then, wow, this is genius stuff. Anything else? I don't. I don't know who you think you're talking to, but do you want to stick on the economy? You just asked me how progressives are better for the economy. I can tell you, expanding healthcare access is better for the economy. I don't know why you're so angry. I mean, we need to fund mental health services for people like you. It's one progressive policy I'd be in favor of. I know you don't think so. It's probably part of the problem, no? No. Cool. How long you've been boxing or whatever? Oh shit. Okay, you got like 1,400 and some change over on me, so fair enough. Yeah. So are you troll or are you just a conservative who has nothing to say? You would need actual knowledge. This is true. And if you don't have that, then there's not much of a discussion to be had. Yeah. Yeah, you just wish you could just talk shit and not know anything about anything. But unfortunately, if you don't know anything about anything, you gotta go. Okay. We got one more guest request. And again, if you're watching on YouTube and you want to debate, we have a call-in number. 312-834-3216. You can call this on TikTok as well. 312-834-3216. If you don't want a guest request to debate on TikTok, you can also call me from your phone to that number. Hey, how old are you?
Keeping New York safe. That's what it's all about.
19. And do you disagree with either of the prompts on the screen? I mean, broadly speaking, progressive economic policy, expanding social safety nets, raising taxes on the wealthy, expanding the role of the government in the economy more broadly is better for the economy than like deregulation and cutting taxes. I mean, that's kind of a semantic disagreement because you can ask two people what those words mean and get three different answers. So I can explain what I mean by progressive in this context.
Is there a street race I don't know about?
What's the liberal talking point I repeated? Right. It's not progressive, but it is liberal. Is that the argument, or?
Score one for the good guys.
I just told you I can give you specific policy. I think single-payer healthcare. I think probably a couple $1 trillion in infrastructure. Having a public transit system that is made in cooperation with federal and state governments. We're talking about increased. Talking about funding programs that boost quality of life and GDP and have measurable positive effects. You're talking about multiplier effects from government spending. I never said tax everyone. I can give you specific tax policy I think we should pursue in specific spending programs. If you're going to caricature it as a welfare and taxes, well, if that's your understanding of the economy is just big government, like if you exist in the land of slogans, there's no debate to be had with you, right? Because the second I delve into any kind of nuanced policy, you're just going to resort back to like welfare and big taxes. Sure, you want to debate healthcare? That's one really big thing, I think, is having single-payer healthcare system is more efficient than private health insurance. Do you disagree that single-payer is a more efficient system? You're talking about lower overall costs. You're talking about greater access to care. Typically speaking, you're consolidating risk pools, so the average cost per person is going to go down. You're talking about greater entrepreneurship. You're talking about people starting families at greater rates when you remove the cost burden of healthcare. I mean, we can go point by point here. Or do you want like free market healthcare? No, I said single payer. That's what I'm conveying. What I said I'm conveying, which is single payer health insurance. There's one health insurance provider, which is the government. Single payer. It would be the one payer. Yes. That is correct again. Yes. Really? I think we should talk about policy. I don't know if you're trolling or if you're... No. Insurance provider, not healthcare system. There'd still be private providers. Again, you're saying you don't know what single payer means, but then you're very quick to dismiss it off of like one sentence. So I don't know what exactly you're here to do right now. That's how many other countries do it. You have one health insurance provider, which is the government, and then there are private doctors and private hospitals still. That's what single payer is. Yeah. What do you mean I assume? That's my ideal system. I said health insurance provider. Hold on. I just didn't say healthcare system. I said health insurance provider. That's what single payer is. I don't think it is right now. That's how I would like the system to work. Yeah. I've been abundantly clear. I've repeated myself multiple times, and you've said everything except repeating what I've said. So, yeah, you don't know, but you understand that that would consolidate risk pools, which lowers price, right? And competition in health insurance is actually inefficient. Wait, before we continue, are you trolling right now? Sure. Before we continue, are you trolling or are you being for real? Swear on your mom's life or something that you're not trolling, because I don't believe you right now. Yeah. Okay, so you are trolling. Yeah, if you're being serious, then what's wrong with holding weight? Do you genuinely oppose like single payer health insurance because it's communism? What? Incentive for what? What incentive is dissolved with single payer? Let's start there. Competition lowers price when demand is elastic and demand is responsive. I'm going to finish my sentence. Competition lowers price when demand is elastic and responsive to price fluctuations. When demand is inelastic, there's not as much incentive for providers to lower prices because, you know, you're not losing customers by charging a lot in healthcare. If you need fucking life-saving care, you're getting life-saving care. It's relatively inelastic demand. And competition is bad for health insurance because you're splitting up risk pools, which increases costs instead of consolidating the risk pool. I can explain what these terms mean. Yes. Yes, I have an economics degree and I've studied specifically healthcare in detail. That's why I'm explaining risk pools to you. Do you understand how risk pools work in health insurance? Hold on. I'm trying to turn the question back around on you. Do you understand what a risk pool is in health insurance? And you're free to Google it. You're free to Google it. Risk pools, risk pooling. That is how health insurance works. You can Google it if you'd like. It's not even a gotcha question. We just can't have a conversation about this if you don't know what I'm referring to. What is a risk pool in health insurance? I don't want you to repeat yourself. I want you to answer my question. Don't repeat yourself. Don't repeat yourself. Answer my question. Answer my question. Why? How are you going to ask me how health insurance... You didn't answer... You didn't answer it. You didn't answer it. What is your definition of a risk pool in health insurance? Can chat tell me, did I miss it? What's the definition he gave for risk pools? As long as there's one person in here, there's someone with ears, and if you said what you said, then they should be able to confirm that, right? So, did he define... Yeah, I really need saving for you to define the term I asked you to define. I'm... Sure, what's the definition then? Just one more time. Okay, sure. Okay, guys, chat, you guys are all clearly deaf. He obviously defined it because he chuckled in a smug way, so obviously that means he's right? So, okay, then since you've defined it, at least for yourself in your own head, then explain to us the difference between consolidated risk pools and risk pools that are split up. How does that affect cost? Because then everyone's in the same risk pool, so it lowers average cost. This isn't lower risk. It consolidates cost burdens. Yes. Okay, is this guy trolling? What do you mean then you have communism? Wait, so under this guy's logic, just to be clear here, under this guy's logic, if there was one health insurance company, private company, but just one, that would be a communist company now because there's only one risk pool for health insurance. Right. You're just saying consolidation of decision-making is communism. That's your argument here. So then any big corporation that has monopoly is a communist company now. Now, to explain to the people... To explain to the one or two people that are watching this how this actually works, when you have a bunch of people with different health costs, young people who have low health costs, older people with chronic illnesses and maybe even acute diseases, when all of them are in the same risk pool, you are taking that risk and you're spreading it across a larger number of people, so the average cost per person goes down. If you have risk pools that are split up, or you have some insurance companies that are disproportionately covering young healthy people or old sick people, dude, I haven't cut you off. Why are you cutting me off? Why are you cutting me off? I'm agree. It doesn't mean that it's stupid. I agree. It doesn't mean that it's stupid. You're right. You're right. You're right. The concession is that I'm not stupid. So yes, I agree with you. I don't know if you heard what you just said, but I'm happy you feel validated and or vindicated with whatever argument you're trying to make. If you're trying to... This is another reason I like playing games. Like, if this guy was rage baiting, it'd be working if I wasn't playing Spider-Man right now. But because I am, this is just like an annoying voice I hear out of the corner of my ear. But do you want to have an actual discussion on policy? You haven't explained the one and only thing I've talked about, which is risk pools and consolidating risk to lower average costs. Oh my god. Can we... I'm not talking about consolidating resources. I don't know what you think a risk pool is. Okay, do you not know what a risk pool is? You're not answering what I'm... Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? I don't know why you're talking about resources when I'm discussing risk pools. Hello? Can you hear me? This guy's talking to someone else, or he's discussing about something else. I'm asking you to repeat yourself because you're claiming you've answered my questions and no one else can hear your answers, so I'm assuming none of us heard you, so then you have to repeat yourself, right? Either you're not answering or you're not being loud enough or something. Yeah. You already told me. So far what I've gotten is that when you pool resources, that's communism, right? Right, it is. So true. So, just to clarify... Right, yeah, my bullshit. So cool. Yep. Good job. So just to clarify your own argument, correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying when you consolidate resources, that's communism, correct? Then that's communism, right? Without computation, yep, it's competition. Okay, it's a communist idea. Cool. So now the obvious question would be, what does consolidating resources have to do with consolidating risk pools? I think it's the obvious question. Exactly. So why the fuck would you say that in response to risk pools? That's what I'm asking. Yeah, you don't know. No, we're addressing what you said. So if you're saying the argument we're discussing right now is all over the place, that's your argument. Oh man, hours. We've been at this for days, dude. Oh my god, I've grown gray hairs during the course of this conversation. I'm actually asking you to answer a question. No, we can just move on since you've said it clearly so many times and everyone heard you say it and you're just, communism is everywhere apparently. I'm just going to ask you now, what do resources have to do with risk pools in terms of consolidation? No, you just said they don't have anything to do with each other, right? Right. So then why did you bring them up in response to risk pools? Okay. So have you noticed that I'm asking you questions 3 times, 4 times because you answered them 0 times? So that's me trying to get an answer. Bro. Okay, so just so to make sure everyone's tracking, I asked about risk pools. He brought up resources. I said, what's the correlation? He said, there is no correlation. Then I asked, okay, then why'd you bring it up? And then he goes, oh, host. So that's why I'm a bit confused right now. But clearly it's communism going on here. Guest is a troll with 8 followers. Yeah, I think Guest is a troll. I will say commitment to the craft for sure. Oh my god, it's the only chat. Read the chat right now, bro. I banned the guy who called me a rapist, so. Host, that's communism, host. I know. I'm crashing everywhere, left, right, up and down. Is that it? Anything else you'd like to teach us? I think your point is too high IQ for everyone here. Guys, I think we're catching on finally. This guy's operating levels above us. Oh yeah, you're welcome, bro. Yeah. Your side is just, you're so advanced. You see communism behind every corner when everyone else is too silly to understand. Yeah, and I'm not a communist, so I don't know who you're talking to right now. I get shit for being a capitalist, so I don't know who you're arguing with when you talk about communism. Hello? Is there a third person in the chat who's advocating for communism? Hello? Right, so he makes a point calling me a communist, and then I so dishonestly clarify. Right, so I'm just gonna concede now, right? So this guy's calling me a communist, and I'm not a communist, and that's me being deceptive. It's a communist idea. What's the definition of communism? Right, so we already established that under your logic, any monopoly is communist, right? Or rather, it's a communist idea. Monopolies are a communist idea because you're centralizing things, right? You're consolidating things. So it's a communist idea to have a monopoly. That's what I would say, but you would say that's silly. Bro. Are there any real people who want to debate? It's a communist idea, bro. Risk pools? That's pretty much just resources. A big YouTuber wants to debate me? He can call in. We have a call-in number. 312-834-3216. 312-834-3216. Wait, fix the audio. What's wrong with the audio? I'm hoping he checks his PayPal. My bad, YouTube. That's on me. If I upload this as a VOD, I'll add the audio later. You now, from henceforth, will be able to hear the TikTok guest. It's on me. I'd muted the macOS audio share. Problem is we got no more guest requests, so we'll see whether or not you guys get to experience the technical fix. Thank you to Paul. Always a pleasure to see you live. P.S. YouTube can't hear the TikTok guest. Can we get some W's for Paul in the chat for the $5 on PayPal? Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Nice thing about Spider-Man also, even compared to Minecraft, is I can like just mindlessly swing around, and it's like just enough of an occupation of my attention that I'm like not fully focused on the debate, but
I should check out that crystal.
I still have enough mental bandwidth left.
Not my birthday, guys. No need for the surprise.
Any more guest requests?
I'm trying to help you out here.
Okay,
All this
hold on.
trouble for a little-
You have any thoughts on Ahmed al-Shara? Is it the new president of Syria? I need to read more. How long you gonna be online for? I don't know. Glad you joined TBA. Yes. Oh my God, guys, I'm going to be debating live in Texas on the 9th of September. Live audience, 1v1 debate. First time I've done a 1v1 debate in person with a live audience. Should be super fun, should be super cool. If you are in the area of like Dallas or Houston, you can come watch. Tickets are very cheap. They cost less than a ticket for the movies. If you can't come in person to watch the debate, you can still donate, even $1, even $2. All the money you're donating to TBA through Act Blue is going to cover the travel costs for flights for people that are doing debates there. Should I drive 6 hours for it? You should. What do you think of Brand New Day? Top 3 MCU. Are you shadow banned? No, I'm pivoting pretty heavily to YouTube, and I've been working on a really big project for like maybe a month now for a YouTube video. So if you haven't seen my Ben Shapiro video on YouTube, you need to watch that. That's like my most recent big content. And then I have something else in the works right now. But in terms of short form content, I'm just doing that a little bit less frequently. So if you primarily get me through TikTok and Instagram, that might be why this seems a little bit like out of the blue. But top 3 for me, top 3 is what's up, Parker? Oh, okay. I couldn't figure out what your TikTok was. I'm gonna follow you back. Remember, I tried searching you before and I couldn't find you. Who's this random? Don't come at Parker like that, bro. Me, him, and David were locked in, bro. We did the thing in Texas recently. Would you join Unfuck America? Unfuck America is doing a lot of really cool stuff. David's part of Unfuck America, and David's awesome. But I'm not with Unfuck America at the moment. Just not with them right now. How are you so bad at it? Am I bad at this game? I haven't died. I'm swinging around. I'm hitting people. What more do you want from me, bro? Come on. The debate event. Okay. Here's where. Can I send links in chat as the person running the live? Can I hop up for what? Debate? What do you? One of the prompts? Okay, yeah. Just give me one moment. I need to send these links real quick. Copy link. And sign in. Hold on. Bear with me for 1 second. I'll send it in TikTok chat first. Or actually, hold on. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do donate is that. Wait, I'm dumb. Ignore the message I'm about to send 3 times. Donate or buy tickets. We're going to do... Hold on. Give me one moment, people. I knew I was forgetting something when I went live today. I should have had this set up and ready to go. I think it's still the same event link. Let's see. Okay. Just threw me off. Hold on. Is there a way to disable that, or I'm just at the mercy of whoever does that to me? 1801. Okay, that is it. Boom. We're going to pin that right there. We're going to copy that comment, go over to YouTube, go to my live, and okay, I'm dumb as fuck. Hold on. How do I edit this? I gotta go. Catch you though. Turn off gifts. Okay, I can stomach that if I have to if that's the price for keeping on gifts. There we go. And now, pin. There we go. Can someone confirm that it's pinned on both TikTok and on... Is it pinned on TikTok? Okay, it's pinned on TikTok now. Is it pinned on YouTube? Can YouTube chat let me know? Is this pinned? No, it's showing as... I'm so confused, bro. Fuck this. Yeah, fuck this. I don't even care. I mean, I do care. Actually, hold on. I actually do care. It's not pinned on TikTok. I just pinned it. What is this? Pin comment. Not approved. Not approved. Okay. Well. Join my disc. Okay. I'm going to add... Do I want to add it to my link tree? Like right now? Join my Discord, bro. Okay, Discord is in my bio. Go to the announcements. That has all the links and all the information. And I'm going to start posting videos and doing lives that have this more thoroughly integrated. I don't want to do this haphazardly right now. But if you are in the Dallas, Houston area and you want to watch me debate one-on-one with a live audience, want to be in the audience so you can clap like a true liberal, then show up, buy tickets. If you can't show up, at least donate on ActBlue. $1, $2, $3, doesn't matter. It all counts, okay? Join the Discord. All the information is there in the announcements channel. And that's in my link tree in my bio. And while you're there, send me your money, subscribe on YouTube, and follow me on all other platforms as well. Who are you debating? That is not for sure yet. What's your difficulty set at? I don't know. Amazing. Okay, so second to last, I guess. It's fun. If you like Spider-Man, it's a fun game. If you enjoy the story, if you enjoy the swinging, playing a game passively, You think the Democrats contributed in any way to the rise of the far right? I mean, I'm sure there's an argument you can make that everything contributed to everything. So I mean, you can make the argument that there are decisions that were made. I mean, I guess yeah. That to me is like a little bit too vague to be useful right now. I have criticisms of Democrats. I think like if you want to talk about specifically, I would blame what's his name, Merrick Garland, for being so lenient on Trump, for not prosecuting the case against Trump more aggressively and more quickly. And I'm okay. Let's see. We did have someone who said they wanted to debate, but they're not in the guest requests. That's my bad. Hold on. Milana Malinsky. If you're still watching, you can hop in the guest requests. Or again, 312-834-3216. 312-834-3216 if you want to call in. I am American though. I am. And I've noticed over the months, over the years, that when someone says I'm not American, I'm usually way more American than they'll ever be. I've noticed that trend. It's interesting. The people who think that like someone's Americanism is based on like whether their name sounds foreign or the religion they practice or the way that light bounces off the melanin in their skin, those tend to be some of the most like illiberal, sort of like backwards people that you come across. Every time Democrats control all the branches of government, we get 10% inflation. Larry, if you want to hop in the guest request and talk about economics, if you think that Republicans are better for the economy than Democrats, I'm happy to have that discussion with you. Or if you want to bring into question whether you're a real person or a bot, you can stay in the comments. I wonder... My Minecraft world has changed. I've been playing since I last played on stream, so I look, you want to just pull up and show y'all what I've got cooking in the world. And okay, you're getting muted for 5 minutes. You're in timeout, dude. Chill. Any conservative positions you hold? I don't know what you mean by conservative. I mean, I've had like leftists tell me that I'm a conservative because like I don't want to abolish capitalism. So depends.
Hello?
Hey, how old are you?
I'm 16, so is that okay or no?
No. God damn it, I thought we finally had a debate. You know what you need to do? Or no, not you. But just say you're 18 next time, bro. I mean, is there anyone here, this is a big ask, okay, who is above the age of 18, who wants to debate and is not going to troll? Does that exist? Is that a thing that exists? Host bugging. Don't. Bro, I just want debates at this point, bro. I don't give a fuck. Look at my rags to riches. If you watched the last stream, you know what a for lack of a better term, what a shithole this house was. Send it and clip it. Okay, dude. MAGA thinks they once they don't care about honest discussion anymore. Thoughts on Zoran Mamdani? I love Zoran. Zoran is based as fuck. Steve, if you want to debate, are you in the guest requests? Hey, how old are you?
I just turned 18 years old today, sir.
Oh, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
So, do you disagree with either of the prompts on the screen?
Yeah. I think that the Jews caused 9/11.
Okay, bro. Cool story. This is why I don't go live that often, by the way. For everyone who's like, oh, why don't you go live? Why would I? Why? Where did YouTube chat go? The Democrats failing to deliver on any of their promises made it easy for someone like Trump. I don't know that I would. It depends what you mean by that. There's a version of that critique that's true, and there's a version of that critique that's just fucking brain rot. If you went live more often, you'd get more viewers, but it's an opportunity cost question. So in the times I could be going live, if I'm working on a YouTube video instead, that is way more satisfying to make, way more nuanced and detailed, it's way more long-lasting impact than just one live, then at least the way I'm wired, I'm going to pick the piece of content that has a longer shelf life and is just worth more than spending that week on lives that are going to come and go. I need to figure out how to open up my YouTube chat. Hold on. I think Trump won in 2016 because of his beliefs regarding the border. I have to say this. Trump won in 2016 because of the Electoral College. Like, first and foremost. Not to say there's not other reasons, and we have to think about why could he even win the Electoral College, but anytime someone talks about the 2016 election as some kind of national referendum on like the American people showed us they're sick of the Democrats. No, actually, the American people voted for Hillary Clinton by like more than 2 million votes. Trump won fair and square, fine. The system is the Electoral College. But to act as if Trump's 2016 win speaks to like some kind of overwhelming popularity or even like some kind of overwhelming rejection of Obamaism and Hillary Clinton. It's a nice narrative, but Hillary Clinton got more votes. So, like, the system advantaged Trump in 2016. And you can say, okay, well, you know, Hillary had to win the game, not a fucking popularity contest. So there's still criticism of Hillary there. Did she campaign enough in the Midwest states or just take them for granted? Obviously. But the 2024 election to me is a lot more of a question of like, okay, this was a referendum on something from the American people where Trump won the popular vote. That to me is the more interesting conversation about like, what does that represent from the American people? Even Trump's unpopular victory was won with way more votes than anyone expected. I don't know that that's true either. I think, didn't Trump get less votes than Mitt Romney? I mean, I guess it depends what you're indexing on in terms of like what you expected in 2016. If you expected Trump to get like 10 million votes or something, then I guess yeah. But if you expected him to broadly get Republicans, thoughts on FDR? I have mixed feelings on him. He had authoritarian impulses for sure, which no one likes to talk about, even though it's true. Japanese internment camps. His view of the judiciary, even though he didn't really act on it in a super authoritarian way ultimately. But, I mean, New Deal was based as fuck. So. 0 people expected Trump to win. Nobody expected him to get broad support. Trump did not get broad support in terms of voters and even like the different cohorts of voters. Trump got broad enough support to win the Electoral College. And I think the collective margin across the swing states that gave him the election, we're talking like less than 100,000 votes or something just around 100,000 votes. What do you think of public grocery stores? Instinctively not a fan. I'd want to know how supply and revenue are handled. It depends on how it's operated. If it's operated like Yeah, I mean, yeah, it just depends how it's operated. But like generically, I don't think it works great because grocery stores already have really low profit margins. We're talking like 2 to 3% profit margins, I believe. Now, I'm not dogmatic here. If you can do it well and it works, then like cool, that's great. But let's debate about the Republican Party. Yeah, sure. Hey, it's so cringe, bro. It's so cringe. Even the racist political like even Nick Fuentes now is like disowning and trying to dissociate from his like blatant like the viewers of his that just spam slurs, because it's like, what is this like? Is this shock factor? Are you expecting me to like cry or something? And like I don't understand. Is there a way to join to use Discord to join a call? No, but if you don't want to request on TikTok, we have a call-in number for debates. It's 312-834-3216. 312-834-3216. Hold on. Okay. What was I doing? I was trying to pull up the YouTube chat. I don't want to hang them out to dry because the little pop-up went away. What's up, Jacob? Jacob in the requests? He is. What's up, man?
What's up, dude? You see me on Jubilee?
I did. Good shit. You and David both cooked his ass.
You think I did well, right? Huh?
Yeah. I mean,
dude, that's
and
great
he
to
all he
hear.
could really do is like, yeah, put him in jail, put him in. Like, he's just so flippantly, because to actually engage with it would mean conceding something pretty substantive about Republicans that he probably doesn't want to.
Yeah, it's funny. I played his little game because I saw he does a lot is bring up niche instances that the person that he's debating is not going to be able to respond to.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that he obviously wouldn't know about the Massachusetts thing because it wasn't national news. I actually worked on that with the party.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're based out of Massachusetts, right?
Yeah, so like, but I was an intern with the party, and I saw that I went into the office one day, and I saw like these signatures, these ballots, because in my state you have to get a certain amount of signatures before the primary to be in the primary,
Mm-hmm.
and they were I shit you not, dude. This one guy literally like went on the website, like on the history of Republican voters, and just put their names down, and it was all the same exact signature.
Oh wow, that sounds like what they say Democrats do.
Yeah, dude, and it was literal. No, hold on, it gets better. There were dead people on that ballot, and they always talk about how there's dead people voting.
Typical
And
Marxist plot. Wow.
And he had no response. Like it's just what he did the whole time. And then I'm so mad that he got me off of my original point with the Bernie Sanders shit, bro. I'm so mad about that.
I need to watch the full video still. I saw clips of it on Twitter that you confronted him. How many times did you end up going up?
Just once.
Okay,
just
yeah.
once. It's 6 minutes. I got
So I need to
6
watch
minutes
the full
though.
clip then, because I don't think I
got
the Bernie Sanders piece.
So yeah, so I got a full 6 minutes up on there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I got a long debate. Long like time on there.
Was
so
the beanie on the entire time?
Yep, the entire time. So
One of you guys should have snatched it.
dude, see that then I would get arrested and I wouldn't be
but
talking
it would
to
be
you today.
based.
So
It would be so based though.
I don't know if they do. They wouldn't have put that in the episode.
We'd be
I
writing
also
you
when
letters in prison.
Yeah, I'd be like, David comes to the call is like, Jacob, I need some talking
It's
points.
like the way
here.
that all the Andrew Tate fanboys were doing push-ups outside of the prison where he's being held. We'd all be doing jumping jacks outside of the prison in LA. We'll all be wearing beanies in your honor.
Yep, that. 100%. Yeah. So it was really good. I'm really glad. I hope to go on eventually again.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm definitely going to go back if they have me. I've applied twice and I haven't gotten a response, but I think it's because I'm out of state and
they're definitely more judicious
Yeah.
with out of state castings because they have a bunch of people like that are super close by that are really good, like Mason and Evan and stuff.
Yeah, so that's the thing. And I think whenever they get somebody out of state, it's usually for newer people.
Right.
So my thing is like, yeah, I mean, what I'm considering is on the application is just putting that I'm in state. So because I'm gonna travel no matter what.
Sure.
Um,
Thing with
so
that
they-
though is they might not. I mean, they might not cover travel if you say you're in state because usually
No,
just use
they
the
do
stipend,
not.
Right? Yeah.
They do not cover travel. I had to pay my own expenses.
Damn.
Entire trip was about $1,000. I got like 300 from them, which is actually way more than they usually give. So
Yeah, it definitely is. I think usually they do like 40 or $50 stipend for gas or something.
yeah, it was way obviously it was way more than I actually spent, but it was still
I think it's still
100%
usually worth it, especially to get your foot in the
100%.
door
Oh,
the
yeah.
first time. I did the same thing. I spent like $800-900 first time I went there.
And you got back on again?
Yeah, and then the thing is, once you do it more and more often, they'll like start covering your travel eventually.
Yeah, that's the hope, but that takes it's like a year in the future. Year in the future, it takes a while, I think, to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but listen, man, I'll let you go, get the debates on, and
Hopefully we
maybe
get some, yeah.
I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, man. Take care.
See ya.
If you guys are not already following Jacob, make sure you do so. I don't know what other platforms he's on, but definitely on TikTok at least, and his other stuff. And then he was just on Jubilee with Timothy Poole. Timothy Poole debated David and Jacob, two radical left patriots, friends of the stream. Oh, what's going on with Fishback? Can you debate this Larry guy? Who's Larry? Is there a Larry? Dude, I think Larry's a bot. He hasn't requested. He's either a bot or like the human equivalent of a bot. Last time we had a budget surplus, was it the 90s? Was under Clinton? Or did Clinton just balance it? No, I think we did have a surplus under Clinton. I haven't looked at budget stuff in a while. I wasn't old enough to vote in 2016, so no. Under a Democrat, true. I mean, the thing Republicans always love to say there is like, oh, well, Clinton is like a Republican by modern standards, and he did means testing for welfare, and it was a Republican Congress passed budget. So I think there is more nuance to it, but if we're speaking broadly, Democrats are just better for the economy than Republicans. Including on budgets. You probably want to bring in revenue. This is like, there's so much revenue on the table. And like there's a conversation about cutting spending, but you have that conversation once you've exhausted revenue streams, in my opinion. Not any and all revenue streams. There's so many revenue streams that we could be exhausting that don't have like massive detrimental effects on the economy, but we're just not exhausting them. And for some reason, we're pivoting instead to cutting like very important social safety nets. Oh, where can we find the full Andrew Wilson video? Posted a clip of. Just look up Andrew Wilson versus Adam Khan, and you'll find it. It's like a modern day debate video we did together. It has like 100-something thousand views now, which is cool. Like, we could be bringing in trillions more dollars. And I'll give credit to Destiny on this point. I saw him bring this up, and I don't see it brought up very often. I've been saying this for a while. Like, you can... I mean, there are conversations about, like, taxing unrealized gains and all these things, and, like, we can have those conversations, but, like, the obvious, just, like, no-brainer way to bring in revenue before we get to the complicated, like, new taxes stuff is, like, just raise capital gains rates. Like, I think what you should do, and this might have been a Biden plan, but, like, right now, capital gains rates... Oops. Are lower for long-term gains, right? So like short-term capital gains, the rates are the same as income, and then long-term rates, it's like it tops out at 20% 20%, I think. Now, if you just say for people whose income is over, and this is very crude, right? People whose income is over $1 million a year, including income not just from ordinary income, but like assets and stuff, right? People whose income is like over $1 million a year, for them, not for everyone, but for them, their long-term capital gains rates are the same, or at least they're higher than what they are now. Maybe you want to still, relatively speaking, favor long-term investment over short-term investment. So then maybe you say, okay, fine, it's not fully equivalent to income rates, but it's like 3 points below or 5 points below. Basically saying, if you're wealthy, then I think your long-term capital gains rates should be higher than what they are now. And then still you can say, okay, if you're like a working class or lower middle class person, we'll still give you advantaged rates for long-term gains. I want people who are working class to still have strong advantages to make long-term investments rather than fucking GameStop investments or whatever, or call options. Yeah, and capital gains used to be... the logic behind taxing capital gains long-term lower than short-term is that, relatively speaking, if you're going to make capital investments, that you're going to be pulled towards long-term investments over short-term ones. And I'm sympathetic to the argument that if you're going to tax short-term and long-term gains differently, you probably want to tax short-term gains more. But that doesn't have to mean that you cut off a bunch of revenue arbitrarily on long-term gains, right? So either you can say long-term gains are going to have the same rates as income, and then maybe short-term gains are taxed higher than income. That's another thing you could do, is say if you're like a wealthier person, your short-term capital gains rates are going to be equivalent to income rates, and then, your long-term capital gains rates are going to be equivalent to income rates, and then your short-term rates are going to be higher than income rates, because then you're making an actual disincentive for short-term speculative trading. Or you could create more than just short-term and long-term and have different time horizons. So suffice to say, there are trillions of dollars of revenue to be brought in before you even touch something like a wealth tax or like a like the Robin Hood tax, which is like taxing loans that are like leveraged against like large sums of wealth to fund consumption. Are you 40? You look 40. I'm 45. Yep. Ripe age of 45. That's me. And I debated Wilson on if Trump's a fascist. Yeah. If you want to call it a debate, it was mostly just him having a complete and total meltdown. A Hassan Brigader is here. What is a brigader? Like a warrior? Like a foot soldier of his? Get me in here. I sent the request. Okay. Hey, how old are you?
Yo, what's going on? I'm 23.
Okay, and you disagree with either of the prompts on the screen?
Not really,
Okay.
but I don't know if I'd say I'm like a progressive.
What
I was
are
more
you?
so wondering if you support like the DSA platform for like the Democratic Party.
Which parts of it?
Like a lot of the candidates they put forward that are kind of anti-establishment, like
Oh, yeah,
Abdul El
I'm
Sayed.
voting for them. Abdul's not DSA, but I'm in Michigan, so I'm voting for him. But like, yeah, I would tell all my viewers in the general election, vote for the Democrat, whether they're DSA or they're like a normie Democrat. Either way.
Yeah, of course. Like I'm a lifelong Democrat, but like
Okay.
I kind of despise like the kind of like slopulism, populism for the Democratic Party. I think it's I think it's almost like blue MAGA's kind of coming up on the horizon here.
I don't like populism, so I agree with you in that regard. I don't know that I see the same risks right now in the Democratic Party that I would see with like the illiberalism of the Republican Party. So I don't know that I would go full blue MAGA as a risk, but there definitely is a rise in populism, which is like concerning to me. But that's bipartisan, I think.
I don't know. I think I don't know if I would agree. Like I see candidates that are like they're hanging out with people like Hassan Piker, 9/11 enjoyer, you know, just like the craziest shit you've ever seen, and that's just becoming more common. Of just people that are just, they don't care about policy, they don't care about like the economy, they want to become Mao China. Like
I am curious to see, like, with people like Abdul, like how much he associates with Hassan going closer to the general. I would be surprised if Abdul does that. I don't know how smart it is electorally. In a primary in Michigan, I mean, I'm no fan of Hassan. A lot of people, especially like the Muslim community in Michigan, is big fans of Hassan, which is
yeah,
concerning to
100%.
me. But there's a question of, is the average Hassan Piker viewer like a tanky, or are they just like a Bernie Sanders Democrat who doesn't know all of Hassan's positions? And I tend to lean it's the latter.
The average Hassan viewer is probably someone who gets all of their political talking points from Twitter. But I'm not really
I
concerned
mean,
about
like
like
a
the average.
casual Hassan viewer, not someone who's like in his chat every single day watching for 4 or 5 hours. I think those people
Yeah,
are
true.
mostly chill, and they're just like Bernie Sanders people.
They're probably just people that just don't really know much. I'm not really like concerned about the average Hassan viewer. I'm concerned about like the average news viewer who sees like the worst of the worst on the news. That might be like a centrist person that gets moved away from like the Democratic movement. Like the issue I have with the candidates is like the electability and like the, you know, this is like the most important election probably for
It's
like
up
the
there.
Senate race
Yeah.
and upcoming presidential race, and
Yeah.
like having an ununified party is like the most terrible thing that could probably happen.
I will say I'm posting a video about this tomorrow. I don't think that the main divide right now in American politics is like left versus right. I think it's authoritarian versus anti-authoritarian, and I think that distinction makes a lot of things clear. So like, for example, when we talk about someone who's like a socialist, you could have two people and both of whom call themselves a socialist. One of these people wants single-payer healthcare, and let's say they even have a more radical view, like they want to mandate worker ownership stakes in private corporations. But they believe in free speech and voting and like due process and like these sort of like classical liberal principles of like open and free societies. You can have another person who also calls themselves a socialist. This person might think the USSR was low-key based, and they want to, overthrow the U.S. Constitution, and they want to ban political parties that are pro-capitalism. I think we lose something when we lump both of those people into one category and say that's the socialists and we're the liberals. Because the first person I listed there, who just wants a more socialist economy but is not illiberal, who is not against freedom and open expression, that person has a lot in common with liberals and moderates and even a anti-Trump Republican, in that they believe in basically an open and free society with democracy. They don't want authoritarianism to pursue their political goals. And I think we lump people in and we make the crazy illiberal tanky people look like a bigger faction than they really are when we lump them in with the Zoran Mamdanis, if that makes sense.
I don't know. I would agree with you if they get like so much. It's just like a lot of the worst actors get the most attention, and I would generally agree with you. But I feel like a lot of the, you know, kind of like sloppulous left, like
I would draw a distinction
content
there as
creators.
well, I'll say, between slopulism and like tankies. I think I prefer slopulous to tankies like a lot.
I rope them in 100% together because the main thing for me is that they're going to ultimately not endorse like the left candidate that will be most successful. Like
I think when
like
I
you
think
don't.
of slopulism, I'm thinking of just like the average social media low information voter who is like scrolling on
Yeah.
TikTok and they don't like Trump, but I don't see that person as being someone who like wants to like destroy the U.S. Constitution and like lock up like everyone who's not
Sure.
a socialist or a communist.
Yeah, no,
That's a
I'm not
pretty
saying
big
these people are.
distinction.
Yeah, there's definitely like these people like aren't MAGA. They're not gonna like destroy the country if they got the chance.
And a lot of slopulists would vote for like John Ossoff or Gavin Newsom, by the way.
Oh, I don't know. I think
dude, when John
I don't know
Ossoff
if I would
talks about
agree.
like the Epstein class, like that is like clear populist rhetorical signaling. This is one thing that worries me sometimes is like there are things to be worried about, even maybe on the left in very fringe spaces. But when we lump them into one bucket that includes tankies and sloppulists and people who are just like Bernie Sanders Democrats, I think we're losing a lot of people that otherwise should be in our coalition.
I think those people, though, generally, my issue is that they generally have the same messaging. The messaging that, like, you know, the Democratic Party that is in power right now is someone that, you know, loves Israel, takes AIPAC funding, and it's just like there's no positive messaging about like the most establishment candidates.
There are fair critiques of the Democratic Party as it pertains to Israel. So, like, again, this is where I wouldn't want to lump in, like, let's say you have someone who is genuinely concerned, and I think rightfully so, about what happens and is happening in Gaza and the hawkishness of Israel as it pertains not just to Gaza, but also, like, the Iran war. And maybe they are using talking points that you could say are like, okay, this is, like, a little bit reductive, and you got that from a TikTok. I would be very careful to lump that person in with someone like Hassan Piker, who has said, like, oh, I would ban political parties that are pro-capitalism. Like,
sure.
Those are just different categories to me.
But do you think the average tankie or the average, like, DSA platform supporter is saying and messaging that, like, you know, the average leftist politician is so much better than the average Republican candidate on Israel? However, you know, I think they could make these improvements. It's like that is not the messaging at all. The messaging is always they're both the same. They're both just as bad. Like,
you mean in elections, like saying don't vote for Democrats?
No, they will never say like don't vote for Democrats, but they, you know, the endorsement
for
is
example,
missing.
my understanding is even people who are like Kyle Kulinski and let's say like Cristobal, you familiar with them?
The first, not the latter.
Okay, like my understanding is Kyle Kulinski, who is someone people might call like sloppulist or whatever, is
Sure.
like vote blue no matter who for the midterms. That's my understanding of his position.
I would say he's probably more of like the exception than the standard. I mean, maybe that's just my perspective.
Sure.
I'm a Destiny viewer.
Okay.
I've watched like a lot of your stuff before on YouTube. I think you're generally pretty great. I'm like way more like economy policy first. In terms
I
of
normally
the way
am as well, although I think in the current moment, like reforms to democracy and like prosecuting the Trump admin is like
yeah,
number one
100%.
before
They-
economic stuff. But I'm also about economic policy.
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously steered away from that as like a country
Yeah.
because we just have like the most like corrupt influencer, like fat old
And
president
it
of
also
all
gets
time.
into like I think some like how low IQ some of the political conversation is now. Where like in the 2020 primary, we were having robust debates about single payer versus a public option, and now it's
Yeah,
just we just
100%.
call it like universal health care or something, or like Medicare for all, with like no elaboration on what that actually even means.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something it's a little frustrating. Like I see like I live in Michigan. I'm not as like a dox, but you'll never find me. But I voted for Haley Stevens.
Okay.
But yeah, the
But you're
healthcare
voting
thing
for
is
Abdul
just
in the
kind of
general, right?
100%. Yeah.
Based. Okay. See, there we go. And this
yeah,
is
always
why
vote
like
blue.
I,
Everyone always vote blue,
as
even
much
if you
as
don't,
I don't
fully
like
like the candidate.
what was her name, Francesca Hong. She's like out there campaigning with Crowley now, and I have to say, like, credit where it's
Yeah,
due.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's fucking based, actually.
Yeah,
I
like
think
I really liked
the mean, the average Democrat right now, the average left-wing person is someone who is like who would say support David Crowley and support Abdul Saeed, and I'm like, I think
Yeah,
that's
like
actually the base position.
the option is like insanely like nuke the entire world or like vote for someone that you agree with like 1% less.
Sure.
But
I guess the
yeah,
point
I
that
just
I'm
wish-
making here, and maybe this is where our disagreement is, I think we should be very surgical and very specific about who is not part of the coalition, because the second we get lazy with that language, we start ostracizing people. And my worry with ostracizing people is that we're in a moment right now where we need like the broadest coalition possible. If you look at
100%.
Hungary and like Viktor Orban and the Peter Majgar, whatever his name is, guy who beat him, this is someone who is considered center-right, but you had like leftists voting for him in Hungary because they understood the assignment is more fundamental than just what kind of economic policy do we get. It's do we live in a free society with like democracy and like free speech and free expression. And if
that
you
is
want to
100%.
win like
Agree.
elections with like 65-70% of the vote, you can't just be screening people on economic policy. It has to be more fundamental than that, which is like, do you believe in like basic freedom?
Yeah, no, 100%. I wish
And I
that
think
was
like a lot
like
of sloppy
widely
lists
agreed
do believe
upon.
in that. So that's why I'm worried about like alienating those people.
My issue is I don't want to coddle people that don't
I
positively
agree.
message.
I think people that want to coddle and act like the division isn't real, that's the
Yeah.
problem. But I think when I see a division, it's one thing to attack the people I have the division with. It's another to like try to reach out to them and see how they respond, right? And if they respond in bad faith, then I get aggressive. But I don't want to have my like default position be that I'm here to fight you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I mean, the infighting on the left is just like I see it more every day. I feel like of just like just like kind of grandstanding on like I wouldn't say like Israel Palestine's like a bizarre issue, but I feel like it's kind of unimportant considering the
we
states.
would disagree in that.
Um,
I mean, I don't know if you think that what happened in Gaza is a genocide or not. I think it is, and I think that it is a very legitimate
Sure.
critique of the Democratic Party to say
Um,
that at the very least don't fund this. I think probably go beyond and use diplomatic leverage against the state of Israel. But
Yeah, 100%. It's just, the messaging is, again, it's just, I'm going to go back to the messaging over and over again. It's just
Sure.
like the messaging will never be like, I'll use Haley Stevens as an example. Like the messaging is
Yeah.
never, Haley Stevens like voted against offensive aid for Israel, and she's going to be a major reduction compared to like the Republican candidate. It's just like they're both the same. They're both evil. Most of the Democratic
Sure.
Party
So
are
here's
like,
here's what I'll
Jew
say.
lovers,
People
Zionist
that
lovers.
say that say like, oh, Haley Stevens, Mike Rogers, no big difference. Those people are fucking crazy. What I will say is, I don't think there's a lot of those people out there actually. In that Abdul is campaigning with her, and a lot of Abdul stands now are even like, you know what, like fair play to Haley, like she's on the team now, and like we're banding together against Mike Rogers. And I take your point on like the intensity of the rhetoric against moderate candidates
Yeah.
in primaries. What I will say, and I'd have to look more into this, I don't know that that's particularly unique or new. Like, from my understanding, the 2008 Democratic primary between Hillary and Obama was like really, really fucking brutal and like got really, really ugly. Nonetheless, she became his Secretary of State. So I think that how, I guess, nasty, to use a Trump term, someone gets in a primary is something to keep an eye on. But then if they kind of fall in line and band together in the general, then I'm a lot more forgiving of that typically.
Yeah. I guess my main point to ride on is that I am so in agreement that we need the broadest possible coalition. The stipulation being, I cannot fathom coddling the people that aren't interested in it
Sure.
and
People
baiting
that are
them
not
into the
interested in it,
coalition.
people that are like illiberal
Um,
people, I
yes.
agree with you wholeheartedly. Here's, I guess, like the situation I can give you to illustrate my problem here.
Yeah.
The two examples I gave you of someone who calls himself a socialist. One guy is just like a little bit to the left of Bernie Sanders, and then the other guy wants like a actual authoritarian leftist state in the United States. When we lump both of them into the same group, then, for example, if I right now say, I don't like Hassan Piker and fuck Hassan Piker, and if you watch Hassan Piker, fuck you too. If I say that, there are a lot of people in my chat, I'm guessing, maybe not today, who would say something along the lines of, bro, I thought you supported universal health care. Like, so does Hassan. And then my angle there is to say, okay, no. I also support universal health care. The thing I don't like about Hassan Piker is that he doesn't believe in free speech, for example, or that he's like has authoritarian views. And then maybe I'm wrong here. I think a lot of people, when they hear me say that, are like, wait, what? I actually did not know that. And then if I play that clip or I show them that he said that, then they're like, oh, okay, I like don't support that part of Hassan Piker. I just thought that Hassan Piker wanted Medicare for all. So then that's where I'm like, if we don't explain why we don't like Hassan Piker and we just say fuck you, and if you like him, fuck you too, then a lot of people who otherwise would pick us over him are going to think that they're on his side on the basis of like economic justice or something. Like that, and that's what Hassan Piker does, right? He acts like, oh, if you don't like me, it must be because you are like economically conservative or something. And I could say, no. I'm super progressive economically, but like, would you ban political parties that are pro-capitalist? And then I think a lot of people who just watch Hassan Piker clips on TikTok, you ask them that and they're like, okay, obviously not. I'm not going to ban people just from supporting capitalism. And that's where I'd say, okay, well, Hassan said he would do that. So then that is like the specific point of division I'd want to highlight. And I think being specific there is really important.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I guess I can't quite quantify like the average like Hassan tanky.
Sure, it's
lefty
anecdotal from what I'm saying as well, but in my experience, most people who say I like Hassan Piker don't know that he has like authoritarian beliefs, and they just see him as like he's said some edgy stuff, but ultimately he wants a more progressive economy. And I'm like, oh, me too. But the edgy stuff sometimes is not just a joke. And that's where, I mean, Nick Fuentes does this too. When Nick Fuentes makes edgy jokes about the Holocaust and stuff,
Oh God.
the joke is not that it's edgy. The joke is that he thinks the Holocaust either was not real or is greatly exaggerated, right? So sometimes
Yeah.
when like tanky types make jokes, the joke is not just that they're saying something edgy, it's that they're pointing to something that they actually believe underneath that, which is problematic. So
we live in like the most bizarre timeline with content creators, bro. Like Nick Fuentes,
that I agree.
Hunter Biden, and like
Hunter
who else
Biden's
was?
pissing me off lately.
Yeah, it's just like he's all over the
I
place.
think me
dude.
and Marjorie Taylor Greene, we're on the same side, and I love
Yeah.
Kim yeah, fuck that.
The anti-weather machine, Marjorie Taylor Greene, bro. That's my girl.
And I want to say to Pasta, I think stuff like banning Republicans is definitely a joke. You can correct me if I'm wrong on this, because it's been a few years. When Hassan Piker did his show with Ethan Klein, what was it called? Leftist or something?
Leftovers? Was it leftovers?
I think Ethan asked him, in your ideal system, if there was a political party that was pro-capitalism, would you ban that political party from existing? And unless I'm misremembering, my
he
recollection
100%
is that
said
he said,
yes.
yes, I would ban that political party.
Yeah, 100% said yes.
Yeah, that to me is like crazy. That is just
Yeah.
insanely authoritarian and just unacceptable. If he wants to say, I've changed my mind on that, then I'd ask him, okay, what made you change your mind? And then we can have that discussion. But if his only response is, I was just joking, that was just edgy, clearly, like, no, he actually did mean that.
Yeah, no, he's like probably one of the worst possible actors for like a unified left, a unified like West. He's like just anti-West, like pretty much pro-terrorism
Yeah, I
at this
saw him
point.
say that like he would wipe his ass with the U.S. Constitution and like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Constitution
Yeah,
just
he's
words
just
on
like
paper as
he's dressing up as like Mao Zedong, bro, and going to like DSA events
For
and
me,
shit.
the
like,
Constitution thing is like that's one of my biggest gripes with Trump is when Trump said terminate the Constitution, and I think the American left sometimes takes the Constitution for granted. I'm reading into this a lot for my video. The U.S. Constitution, I don't know if this is a hot take, is like low-key really, really fucking based and like really fucking important. And people
it's
that
probably
want to
the
casually
most
throw it
important-
aside are dangerous. So
it's probably the most important like foundational document in the history of the world.
one of them. Oh, what's up, Parker?
It's definitely up there.
Yeah. Like,
There's so many other countries that
People
have
take
like
this for granted. Barack Obama, first black president. It's become corny to say that, right? The document that he swore to protect was the same document that when it was first written, Obama would have been considered a slave in this country. The fact that that document has progressed from chattel slavery to now black people can own property, they can vote, women can vote and own property, the weekends exist, you have labor rights, you have income taxes. That is all a function of a constitution that is flexible enough that some things stay set in stone. Free speech is set in stone. But other things that are bad, that are reflections of the bigotry of the time, the Constitution has mechanisms to actually address those and fix those within itself. It is very rare for a founding document to last for so long and be conducive to progressive social change. If you are someone who likes the abolition of slavery and that the Union won the Civil War and that we had a civil rights movement and that we had workers' rights, all of those self-corrections exist because of the Constitution, not in spite of it. And I think to act like the Constitution is just this random piece of paper that some dude wrote once, I think you're throwing a lot of baby out with that bathwater. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, free speech except for the Facebook bots.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd say free speech now is functionally dead under the Trump admin, but like,
Yeah, 100%.
but it's nonetheless
dude, that was
important.
so crazy. Like the arresting the people on like college campuses that was it like they were pro-Palestine or something?
It is by far one of the most egregious violations of free speech in United States history. People need to read into the case AAUP versus Rubio. I mean, this was an executive order passed by Donald Trump, which targets like un-American ideologies. And then you have his administration, Noam and Rubio, literally, I mean, Mahmoud Khalil, people moved on from that name way too fast. This man was a legal permanent resident, a green card holder who was peacefully living in the United States, getting an education from a top institution. And by the way, during the dangerous radical Palestinian protests, he was in charge of negotiating with faculty. He was the guy facilitating conversation between protesters and the faculty at his campus, which is like probably a really important thing to do. This guy missed the birth of his firstborn child because he was rotting in a fucking concrete cage for expressing an opinion that the president deemed un-American. That is dystopian. That is actually crazy.
It is just the most openly corrupt every single day. Just the most abusive, like, and then the bootlicking from the entire right of just allowing this to happen and just butcher our fucking country is
and
insane.
The fact that a Ronald Reagan appointed judge made this ruling should go to show, like, this is not left for, this is authoritarianism, whether or not you're liberal or conservative.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy when I'm agreeing, I'm looking in the like nostalgia core. It's like Ronald Reagan from like the 80s being like, anywhere you are in the world, you can come to our country and become an American. Yes, like,
that's like Marxist propaganda.
Not anymore, bro.
Yeah.
You come here and you apparently are eating dogs.
A lot of these things that were taken as corny cliches, I think, need to be revitalized and like earnestly championed. Stuff like diversity is actually really based in good, and free speech is actually really based in good, and like a free society where people can disagree with each other and one of them doesn't get arrested just for disagreeing. We take those things for granted. That is not the norm throughout human history, and we're trending back towards what it usually is, which is like a strong man who tells people what they're allowed to do.
Yeah, 100%. All right. I think I'm going to let someone else join and bust your balls. I think we definitely probably agree 99.9999%.
Yeah.
Love the content, bro. Keep it up. And yeah, peace, bro.
Thanks, man. Take care. We got a call in. I can call them back. Who is this? I'm calling you back. Whoever you are.
Hello?
Hey, did you call in for a debate?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what did you want to debate about?
First of all, my name is Roman, and I'm 18 years old.
Okay.
And I disagree with you when it comes to how we should deal with socialists when it comes to the Democratic Party.
Okay.
The two examples you gave, when like a socialist who's just like a progressive, yep, and a socialist who's like a Marxist, you know? Yeah. I don't think we should appeal to the socialist brand or the socialist label. We should like campaign with their with their leaders, campaign with their slogans and ideas, you know.
I feel like I need more specificity because, like, I would love. I mean, depending on where you are, Zoran's a socialist, right? I have no issue with campaigning with him if he's going to help you win your race in a blue area, probably.
Kinda.
In cities, I would draw distinctions there again between someone like a Mamdani and like a Hassan Piker.
Yeah, that's true. This is a little off topic, but I think this is kind of ruining the perception of the two.
Okay.
For like Zoran Mamdani is like a socialist, kinda. But like in effect, he's a normal person, normal liberal, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so having the same label as a Zoran with the actual Marxist person too, where like the label as socialist, it doesn't describe any real content of
Right.
the.
I mean, you can be people are gonna get mad at this. You can be a liberal socialist in that you believe in like liberal values and individual rights, but you want like a more socialist economic model. I think that's.
Kinda.
I think most people who would call themselves socialists, although they would hate this characterization, are what could be called liberal socialists. Like they believe in liberal democracy and like free speech and pluralism and democracy.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, it depends on what branch of socialism you believe in. But like we need somehow to look at the tankies in America and just cut them off. We can't like.
Hold on, real quick.
They're not
Can
us,
people still
you know?
not hear me? Testing. Can YouTube and TikTok hear me before we continue this debate? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and a thumbs down if you can't hear me. Okay, TikTok hears me. Someone said still quiet. Incredibly quiet.
Let me check.
Hold on. No, people can. Audio broke as soon as you accepted the call. Your game is too loud? Hold on, say something real quick.
Hello?
Can't hear nothing. I'm getting very mixed messages right now on TikTok.
It's very quiet. I'm listening
Game
right
is
now.
too loud. They're saying I'll just mute the game for now then, and I can turn your
It sounds like
volume.
my audio is normal.
Okay. Is this better? Okay, I hate to hang up on that guy. I want to see if it's just a Google Voice thing. Is the audio better now on my end? Better? Do we need to suspend the Google Voice call-ins for now? Is that the issue? That's annoying. Okay, I need to... If someone knows sound stuff, hit me up. And for now, request on TikTok. That's unfortunate. Never use VoIP. Why? Don't a lot of political debate people do that? That's where I got the idea. What's his name? Matt does it, no? Yeah, I should ask him how he'd be doing it. Hey, how old are you?
Hello?
Yep, how old are you?
Oh, I'm Roman Zitting. Oh, no. I'm Roman. I'm 18 years old. I was just the guy on the Google thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We can pick up where we left off then.
Okay. Okay.
So what is our
It's hard to
disagreement?
fully. When it comes to liberal socialists, they need to come to us, and we don't come to them. So,
Well,
in effect,
I tend
Yeah,
to
go
think
ahead.
politics is a lot about persuasion. So at least I think it's important to bring people to you as well. No.
it is. But a good example of how this happens is that there were like gay Trump supporters, you know, and like
Okay.
that's like a pretty clear example of like how people can be fundamentally not aligned with your cause, but still come to you somehow, you know, because you're appealing to them on a lot of different issues, you know.
I guess what is the risk or the danger of like liberal socialists being in our coalition?
I think the risk is allowing the tankies in under the label of socialist.
Well, a tanky
And
would be an
then,
illiberal socialist or an illiberal Marxist or leftist or whatever. This is
Kinda.
why I draw the distinction between, you can have someone who, let's use the word leftist for example, you can have a liberal leftist or an illiberal leftist. And I mean liberalism in the
Yep.
classical sense.
Yeah.
So I actually think you give the tankies and the illiberal leftists more power when you group them in with the liberal leftists, because then it seems like there's a lot more of them than there actually are.
Kinda, yeah.
If you
That's
draw
true.
the battle lines along liberalism versus illiberalism, or authoritarianism versus anti-authoritarianism, then you create the broadest possible coalition while also defanging the sort of like illiberal tanky voices. Because I think as long as you allow the division to be left versus right, socialist versus moderate, then the illiberal socialists get to claim to the liberal socialists that we're actually on the same side against those moderate people over there, when those aren't the real battle lines I think we should be drawing.
Yeah. We need some way to. Like, I agree with you. I don't want to give them more power, and I don't want to like change the perception across our messaging. You know.
Mm-hmm.
We need some like foundational backbone to fight against these tankies, you know.
Sure.
And
I
know
would say
that
the best way to fight against someone is to win. I think it's to win these elections, and it's to create a coalition that appeals from anyone to I don't know, like an anti-Trump Republican to a liberal socialist. Not in that we agree even on any downstream policy, but that we agree, hey, the president should not be arresting people on the basis of their free speech. And that's actually, you can't live in a political system that allows that kind of concentration of power.
Yeah. But like, even though like liberals, like we win a lot of races, a lot of Democratic primaries over the more crazy choice, you know. And
Sure,
even
yeah,
though we
like
have
Crowley beat what's her name, Hong. Yeah.
Yeah. And even though like we win more, obviously, but we don't have the messaging to like make that relevant to our base, you know?
What do you mean by that?
Like liberals win a lot compared to crazy lefties, you know? But it doesn't feel that way, you know?
Are you saying there's a narrative that like liberals can't win elections and only leftists can win elections?
No, I'm talking about the public perception of the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need to change that. We need a better messaging apparatus.
I agree we need a better messaging apparatus. I think it has to happen in a decentralized fashion, in the sense that if it's like a top-down thing orchestrated by the DNC, it's not going to come off as very authentic or like successful. But
It doesn't have to be the DNC.
Sure, yeah. And I think we agree that we need better messaging, broadly speaking, on the American left. So
Yeah. Like Trump's messaging stuff is like
the thing with
pretty centralized,
Trump that I
you know?
would say, the reason the messaging is centralized with Trump is because it's an authoritarian like cult in a sense, and we have to find other ways to centralize our messaging that doesn't involve having like a strong man on the left.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, of course we don't want to be like MAGA, but we need to meet them where they are.
I mean, we
So,
can
like,
be like MAGA in the sense that we want to win more and be aggressive with how we pursue policy the way they are, but we can't be like MAGA in the sense that we are going to like throw fundamental principles to the wayside purely for political power. There has to be like some kind of give and take there that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't understand. Like,
What do you mean? Or what is it you think that we have like a big difference on here?
I think that even like using terms like liberal socialists and like you make a good distinction, and I agree with you. But
I am not sure what just happened. Not entirely sure what just happened there. It said that my live was ended due to inactivity. On the TikTok side, I think YouTube is still fine. Okay, there we go.
okay,
Okay, yeah, you were saying?
I'm not gonna take too much of your time,
Sure.
but like, I don't think we should entertain like crazy extremist people.
I agree.
You know?
Here's what I think. But I would also say we shouldn't allow the crazy extremist people to act like they just want universal health care and that's the
True.
dividing line, or that, oh, I just want even socialism, because the real
Yes.
issue that I have with someone like Hassan Piker is not even if he wants full up economic socialism, actually. It's that the way he would want to get there is authoritarian.
Yeah,
And I just think that
Yeah.
that's the important line to draw across all of American politics right now. I'm posting a video about this tomorrow. The question I would ask someone right now to know if we are on the same side in politics is not what is your ideal policy platform. The question I would ask to see if we're on the same side truly in any meaningful way is, would you support a dictator who aligns with you on policy? And I'd like to think that a broad majority of Americans, 60 to 80%, would say, actually, no, I wouldn't. I think that people who disagree with me politically should still have rights and representation and stuff. And I think that that's the coalition you have to create to win power, specifically in this moment. If Trump wasn't a factor, I'd look at this differently. But
I think that's good. I think that's a good distinction. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, but
and then if you draw those lines, you end up with the biggest threat is obviously by far MAGA, and then there are some fringes on the left who also fall into that threat, but that's like a very small group of people. It's not
Yeah.
a lot of people believe what Hassan Piker believes, I think.
yeah, thankfully.
Yeah.
But like even like the term socialist,
Yeah.
it encompasses so much like people, not people, but
Exactly.
like ideologies
Yeah.
that like extremists can hide underneath that wide
Yes,
umbrella.
which is why you have to take that off the table and say, oh, you're a socialist, that's fine. But do you want like a authoritarian state, or do you want to get to socialism through like an open and free democracy where people can disagree with you and maybe you might lose elections?
I don't think we should make the distinction. Like,
I think we have to, because it's not being made right now, and it's allowing other people to draw different battle lines. It's allowing people who are more extremists to say, oh, the real fight right now is like the left versus the right or something, and that means we're on the same side, even though they're not on the same side.
yeah, if there was like a strong distinction between like a authoritarian socialist and a liberal socialist, if there was a strong distinction, I would agree with you.
I think there's
I
a
don't
massive
think
distinction.
that's. I mean, like in the public view, you know.
I think if you explained the distinction, the public would view it differently. This is why I say
Yes.
lumping everyone into the bucket of socialist does a disservice to everyone involved, I think.
Lumping in who?
Lumping in everyone who believes in like socialism, nominally speaking, into the same bucket
Yeah.
collapses a bunch of different groups into one, which is the Bernie Sanders guy and maybe the actual socialist who still believes in open, free, liberal democracy, and then maybe like an
Yeah.
actual tanky, when those are not the same people.
I'm pretty sure that already happens today. So we need like a strong. We would need like. Okay, sorry. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening right now.
That
And
we're lumping them all into one group?
yes,
Right, and do you think that's a problem?
yes. I think people look at people like Zoran Mamdani and say, hey, he's a socialist and New York is going great.
Yeah.
Maybe we should entertain more of these ideas. And as long as there's not a
So
strong
if
messaging
someone
against
sees
that.
Zoran and they like Zoran, and then they see a tanky and the tanky uses the same label as Zoran uses, what we'd be worried about is that because Zoran and the tanky use the same label, that Zoran is implicitly, without even intending to, laundering the image of that second person.
Yes.
So what I would say
Yes.
is we have to use terminology then that makes clear what the difference between those two people actually is. And to me, that's, are you authoritarian or not, right? Zoran recently did an interview where he was asked, is there a place for moderate Democrats, even, AIPAC-backed Democrats in the Democratic Party? And he goes, well, listen, if you win an election as a Democrat, then you're a Democrat. And that's something you could never imagine other people who would call themselves socialists saying, for example.
Yeah. I think that's good. If we adopted that widely in our party, that would be a good distinction.
And I think we are trending that way. Again, I would say, if you polled the average Democrat, they probably support Abdul El-Sayed, and then they also support Crowley in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Even though they represent supposedly two different wings, the average Democrat is like, yeah, vote for both of them. And I think that's where the future of the party is at.
Yeah, I agree with you. The only thing I need to look into more to see, apparently some types of socialism is inherently authoritarian.
Oh,
because,
for sure. And I think anyone who talks about we need to get rid of the Constitution and stuff is someone who I'm like, yeah, we're not on the same team at all.
I mean, it's not necessarily the Constitution, but
I think sure the principles outlined in the Constitution of free speech, fair political representation, due process, the political process, the belief that no one leader should have too much power, even if you totally agree with the leader on policy, which goes back to my question. The defining question right now is, would you support a dictator if they agreed with you on policy? That one question to me draws all the battle lines I need to know for American politics right now.
But real quick, when you're a socialist, you believe fundamentally that if I'm an employee for my employer, the employer is
exploiting you in some way. Right?
Yeah. And so.
But here's for example, someone could believe that, and then their solution to it is, I want to get rid of the filibuster and add justice to the court, and then what I want to do is pass legislation that mandates that corporations with a market cap of at least X number of dollars, every single employee of that corporation has to own some percentage ownership stake. Now, you might disagree with that policy, but that is a fundamentally different type of socialist than someone who is we need blood in the streets.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But
even though that could be, when you start talking about mandating ownership of corporations by workers, that is a certain strain of socialism, right? But it's not one that I'm worried about or scared of, even if I don't agree with all of it. Because I think that's in a free society, people are going to believe that. Let's vote and have elections.
The fact that private capital has to be owned by the government in order to facilitate this worker-owned economy, doesn't that speak to a more authoritarian economy than?
Depends how that's done, because I want a sovereign wealth fund, and that would involve the government taking ownership stake in private companies, but I'd want that done through legislation, not some kind of violent coup or some military takeover or something,
Okay.
I think the means matter a lot. The ends matter too, but two people can have the same political goals, and one of them wants to get there with a dictatorship, and the other one just wants to advocate for their position and win elections. And I have no issue with the second guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So just as an outline of our discussion.
Sure.
Socialism, socialists in our society right now, their ideology isn't the problem. It's the authoritarian way.
The socialism, I guess, is not the problem. Yeah.
Okay.
It's that there are people who call themselves socialists who are smuggling in a lot of authoritarianism with that. But that group that does that is I think you'd agree, not a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see someone who is I hate to only beat up on Hassan here because I'm sure there's other people, but he's just like the most prominent name I can think of.
He is.
Not a
Yeah.
lot of people who I think would share 100% views with Hassan Piker that could like win an election anywhere in the United States.
Yeah. I mean, like a problem with Hassan too is not just authoritarianism, but like him supporting Hezbollah and the Houthis in the Middle East.
Sure, I would say those go.
Like that's-
They're tangentially connected in that it's a belief that the ends will justify any means. So, like, if you believe that there are people with legitimate grievances in the Middle East at the hands of Western foreign policy, which is just objectively true, that therefore that would justify any means of combating that, including terrorism. And then I would say, okay, well, even if I agree that this is a genocide and this is bad or that's whatever, I'm not going to support any means necessary to combat that.
Yeah,
And that's
but
kind
like
of a similar principle as the authoritarianism thing. I agree they're distinct, but I think the underlying principle is similar, which is that people who are obsessed with the ends and they ignore the means are people who I'm always wary of.
okay, but your like, or authoritarian like split doesn't really work with people who support terrorism. You know?
What do you mean?
Like you can't like when one person terrorizes another civilian,
Yeah.
that's not authoritarian because it's not the state doing it.
Oh, right. I'm not saying it's
You know?
authoritarian. I'm saying that what it has in common with authoritarianism is the belief that I have some political goal that is so noble and so virtuous and so good that it means that any means are justified to achieve it. And that is
I
the
agree with
same
that.
type of thought process, I think, that underlies authoritarianism and illiberalism and also can underlie support for terrorism. Although they're still distinct, I agree.
Yeah, but how do you I know it's not like of course these two things are connected,
Yeah.
but when you walk up to a random person, you ask them, "Hey, would you support a dictator if they believed in your policies?"
Sure, that's not going to tell you whether they would support terrorism. I agree with that.
Yeah. So I think we need some kind of easy, functional way to tease that out like you do with your question.
Yeah, I think on the foreign policy front, it's going to be like, to what extent do you think that we should resort to violence? Like, everyone agrees in politics, there is some threshold of injustice where violence is going to be justified, right? If you're living under chattel slavery or Nazi Germany, no one's going to say, oh, how dare you commit violence against the state, right? So there the question is going to be, where do you draw that line if when violence becomes acceptable? A lot of people draw the line pretty much anywhere where they want to get something done. They're like, if I have a political goal, then just inherently violence is going to be acceptable to get there. Whereas I would say it's only acceptable if you've exhausted like all other peaceful means, and then that would rule out things like terrorism when there are other methods on the board. And then even there, if you want to talk about violence, there's a difference between non-state actors that engage in violence and people that target civilians. So you could envision hypothetically some kind of like militia group that is not a state actor and they use violence, but maybe you can defend them because they're only targeting like military bases of like an oppressive government.
Yeah.
I would draw a distinction between that person and someone who's like bombing schools and fucking grocery stores. And stuff. Yeah,
That's true. Yeah. But I don't want to take too much of your time.
No worries.
Looking for this conversation. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Thanks for hopping
Have
on.
a good day.
You too. Can you debate MAGA people? I prefer to. I really do prefer to. I am American, by the way. Omer, we're only doing debates right now. Combos are interesting. Survivor and the guest requests. You want to debate? Or okay, the Survivor left. Cal Carter, do you want to debate?
Hello?
Hey, how old are you?
27. Sorry, my girlfriend's playing Roblox. Let me go over here.
Sure.
Got it. How's it going?
Good. Do you disagree these are prompts on the screen?
I disagree with the Republican Party and it is an existential threat to America. have an argument right here. It's not gonna be look, mind you, it's not gonna be too. I do because I like having stuff in premises. It's not gonna be too Phil Bro-ish. I'm not gonna get here into semantic war just to try to pin you down. I'll be like very charitable and good faith. It's not gonna be too annoying. It's only 7
Can
premises.
I ask you, broadly
most of them-
speaking, are you on the right or on the left?
I'm on the right. I'm a conservative. Definitely
Did
on
you
the right.
vote for
yes.
Donald Trump?
Yes, every time.
Okay.
Got it. Like, it just run the argument. I could give you that. You're probably not going to disagree. Most people only disagree with like premises.
Do
You're
you
probably we'll
want
run
to
through, like, the
start by
first five
making an
quickly.
argument as to why they're not, or do you want to know what I mean when I call them an existential threat?
I'm going to give you an argument why they're not.
Okay, go ahead.
Got it. So P1, like, it's going to sound kind of dumb. It'll make sense at the end. So P1 would be if you've experienced something, you can have a memory of that experience, right?
You can, yeah.
Just sufficiently. Yeah, sufficiently. It's a sufficient condition. And then P2 would be some memories are specifically memories of doing something for the first time, right?
Okay.
Got it. P3 would be, like I said, you're probably going to disagree to like P6. So P3 would be if an experience happened more than once, there was necessarily a first time that it happened, right?
Okay, yeah.
P4 would be some first experiences would involve another person, obviously.
I guess they could, yeah.
Got it. P5 would be like an example. This would be like a in relation to like I guess like the Trump case, like sexual experiences would be an obvious example of that happening, right?
Sure, yeah.
Like for instance, like you would remember your first blowjob, right?
Yeah.
All right. P7. How long did it take for the guy to come?
What?
Yeah. How long did it take for the guy to come? You said you remember your first blowjob.
That you did a whole syllogism just to troll in the end, and it's not even a good troll. Come on.
No, but answer the question. How long did it take for the guy to come?
Bro, come on. Wait, do you actually want to debate the prompt or no?
Yeah, that's the argument.
That's the argument? Okay, bro-based. Cool.
Do you have, like, an answer?
You always get excited thinking a right-winger's actually going to want to debate, and it's always fucking trolling, bro.
What's wrong with the syllogism?
Everything, bro. There's nothing to do with the prompt.
Yeah, what premise do you basically granted every single premise, so there's nothing wrong with it, actually.
Yeah.
So how long did it take for the guy to come?
Bro, you're being weird. I don't know what you're doing right now.
You're the one that basically said you remember your first blowjob, and you granted every premise. So how long did it take for the guy to come?
Talking about these topics. I don't want to get my TikTok live taken down.
You literally just conceded the argument.
Okay, bro. Congrats. Do you want a cookie or something?
So you lose, right?
Good job, man.
Okay, so you lose.
We're all really
Goodbye.
proud of you. Is that it? Bro, these people are so cringe. And it's not... Can you guys at least rage bait in a way that is like entertaining or something? This is just... How long will it take to go? Bro. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna check the chat in a second. See, if Mamdani was doing his job, Spider-Man wouldn't have to be out here saving the city, by the way. So now I gotta play through Spider-Man to do Mamdani's job for him before checking the chat. Thanks a lot, Karl Marx. Okay. One of his premises was a question, what the fuck is he doing? Maybe I should follow the story.
More of you? So are y'all late, or were the other guys early? Spider-Man, go! Stop!
He stole it from the Sopranos. There's syllogisms in the Sopranos? Didn't know Spider-Man can defy gravity. We got fucking Bill Nye the Science Guy over here calculating the angles and the laws of physics in a fucking Marvel video game, bro. Never allow a syllogism. I mean, if it's one or two premises, like, I'll be annoyed. I'll roll my eyes, but I'm not going to be like, fucking, you're not allowed to do this. But when he said there's like 6 of them, I was like, oh, there's a good chance I'm just going to kick this guy.
Not too far away. I'll drop you right off.
Oh my god, thank you.
Why am I carrying this guy? Hey, how old are you?
I'm 18. I just had a question.
What's up?
What do you think about like James Fishback getting like 10% of the vote in the Florida primary?
Oh, he's at 10?
Yeah.
Have they called
He
it
got
for Byron
destroyed.
Donalds?
Yeah, he got destroyed. I can't even lie.
Yeah, I mean, 10% is, for what he is, like a guy off Jubilee, it's impressive. But, I mean, he got blown the fuck out, so yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing they're not like mainstream yet, but
10%
it is
is
kind of
crazy,
like a
yeah.
warning sign. Yeah. Okay. Well, I just kind of wanted to ask that. You can like invite someone else up.
Sure.
If you want.
Do you accept calls from the bath? You know what? As long as it's not against like TOS or something, if you're actually going to debate me, then fine, bro. Call me from your toilet for all I care. Just don't get me banned, okay? Someone on the right who does not want to troll. Does that exist? Who is of age and does not want to troll?
There you go. Everything's going to be all right.
I would agree. The 10% are probably not groypers. They're probably like social media, right-wing, sloppy list people. One of my favorite games. Yeah, you can play it so ambiently and passively. Like, I know there's like a main story objective here, but I made this world. This is like a new game I made aside from my main story to just low-key just like swing around and shit until I get bored. I don't know if that's just me. I don't think it is. I feel like people play this game to just swing around and shit. Hey, how old are you?
You. 18.
And you disagree with either of the prompts on the screen? Hello?
It can go both ways. I just have a question for you.
What can go both ways?
I disagree.
On which one?
The Republican Party is an essential threat.
Okay, do you want me to explain why I think it is, or do you have an argument you want to make?
You can go ahead.
Donald Trump is an existential threat to the country, and the Republican Party runs cover for him and supports him and falls in line behind him. They refused to convict him in the Senate after January 6th, even though they had the votes to do so. And many of them thought he deserved to get convicted in the Senate. They're supporting someone who has actively called for the termination of the U.S. Constitution. I would say if you're attacking the foundational document of the United States, then you'd be an existential threat to the United States. So, pretty straightforward.
I have a question.
Okay.
You support, like, pride and all that, right?
What does this have to do with anything I just said?
No, I'm talking about a whole different thing. It wasn't originally asked.
Why are you changing the topic? Do you want to address what I said first? Or you want to just ignore the prompt now? Or?
I just came to join and ask the question, and that's it.
You said you disagree with the Republican Party as an existential threat, and then I explained why it is, and you just asked me if I support pride. Seems like you have something else on your mind. Oh, he left. Okay. Wow. Very fun. Hey, how old are you?
I'm 21.
And do you disagree with either prompt on the screen?
No, I just wanted to get on here and say, fuck Matt Nuclear. I can't fucking stand Matt Nuclear.
True.
He's an awful human being.
True.
I hate that guy. He has me blocked. He's a piece of garbage.
I want to
And
say
he doesn't
more
believe
than
in systemic
being
racism.
more than being like reprehensible, he's also just stupid as fuck, which is important to remember also.
Yeah, in his stupid Grok chat, bro. Like,
Hype me up, Grok. Hype me up. Hell yeah.
Yeah, Grok. Hype up what I'm doing as a 19-year-old. No one cares, bro.
Ben
Yeah,
Shapiro's
you
in my
got-
DMs, by the way, Grok. Hype me up.
Like, literally, you're just going out there to grift. Like, it's a horrible, horrible thing that he's doing, and I think he knows what he's doing. He's an idiot.
Hey man, he's outpacing his age cohort in income, according to him, in his conversation with Grok. Don't sleep on him. He's up next.
Only lame people do that, John, bro. That's the lamest thing I think I've ever heard in my entire life.
You're telling me that when you get a new job, you don't run straight to Grok and ask it to hype you up on your income?
No, I talk to my friends or my mom or my dad.
That's your first fucking mistake, is having friends. Matt would never do something.
Yeah, Matt Nuclear would never sit down and have friends. Also, did he ever end up debating you?
He did,
'Cause I remember.
and I cooked his ass, and he also told me that people who disagree with Trump should be killed, so that was cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where's that? Where can I find that?
Yeah, you look up Matt Nuclear versus Adam Khan. It was on the Rattlesnake TV YouTube channel. I don't know if you remember the video that a bunch of Congress people made where they told the military they don't have to obey illegal orders, and then Trump said that they should be put to death for that. Matt said he agrees that they should be put to death for that. So that's something you just casually said.
That's disgusting.
Yep.
That's horrible.
Yep.
That's horrible. Okay, plug your YouTube. What's your YouTube channel?
My YouTube, my Twitter, my everything is in the link tree in my TikTok bio. So if you click my profile picture, you'll see my link tree right there, and my YouTube and everything else is right there for your viewing pleasure.
All right, y'all get lit for Adam Khan, bro.
Hell yeah.
This guy knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. All right, I'll step down. Appreciate you with the truth nukes and the destroying of these hateful ideologies, man. Seriously.
Thank you for watching.
Have a good one.
You too.
Of course.
GOP rigged the primary against Fishback. Yeah, dude. True. We live in such a brain-rotted era that I don't know if that's a troll or just a really, really dumb person. Because, like, both could just totally explain everything. There are people who would unironically say that, and there's people who would troll and say that. I don't know who that is. I already know American Advocate's like a troll or like not real, but I guess we'll scrape the bottom of the barrel today. I know what you're trying to make it sound like, but that sounded like some kind of exotic bird, like cawing over the sound of your bathroom sink. How old are you? Okay. Debate me on religion? I don't know that we disagree on religion. And I debate matters of like public policy. I debate things that would like affect other people. I don't know that I have really delved into like debating people's personal beliefs that just affect their code of conduct in life as an individual. Some people do that, but I don't see I'm not interested in it particularly, but why is something happening on YouTube? Why is YouTube chat like frozen? Do we just lose all our viewers on YouTube? Is that what it is? Mom, Donnie, policy-wise, it depends on the policy you're talking about. Some stuff I like, some stuff I don't. I do have a Discord to Jotterboy67 on YouTube. Link in my description. Has my link tree, and link tree has my Discord. And you should join the Discord, by the way. Mamdani for Prez. Man, I love Mamdani. I don't know if he'd win a general election on the national stage. I hope, I wish, but I don't know. I'm a little iffy on that. Last I checked, and this was only one poll, so correct me on this. Last I checked, Mamdani is still net unfavorable nationally. Am I off on that? Has that changed? He has very high, just like people that don't have a favorable or unfavorable opinion, but I believe his unfavorables are higher than his favorables nationally. But it's nothing crazy. I think it's like 38 unfavorable, 31 favorable, like something like that. Am I off on that? And I mean, he's not eligible also. Although that to me is a bit silly. I mean, it's probably a big hassle to change that with an amendment, but I think the requirement to run should be that you're a citizen, not that you were born here. What game is that? GTA 7. I got it early. Peter Thiel. Connect. Talarico for president one day, true based. He'd win. Suicidal sentiment. What is? Do you have an opinion on Taiwanese reunification? I'd need to read more about it to have like a very strong opinion. Probably gonna end the live soon, low-key, if we have like no debates. I can hold on, check something real quick. We need to get the Google Voice call-ins figured out. That's a big thing that we need to fix. And no, you don't need to be a Republican to debate or chat. I'd prefer you disagree with me on something political, though. If you, I don't want to have a bunch of conversations of just, oh, you agree, me too, I agree, and I'm right and you're right and we're all right. I don't want to do that.
You guys waiting around for me? Y'all are being really possessive. Time to check out this crystal.
Foreign-born president just proves liberalism is dying. Okay. The fact that you think you support like liberalism, but you want like two types of citizens in terms of like what you're eligible for constitutionally is interesting to me. Given more race realist vibes and liberal vibes to me. Top 3 fast food chains. Finally, good questions, by the way. Thank you. What are we counting as fast food? Does Five Guys count as fast food? I'm not saying it'd be in my list, but like, is that a tier of establishment you'd count as fast food or no? Yes? That is tough. Because I'd rank them differently depending. There's different tiers of fast food, right? So like, the basic tier of fast food, is I think. Man, it's tough. I was gonna say like the obvious big three is like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, but like Taco Bell is in that same tier, and I don't want to leave out Taco Bell. I need more specific parameters for that question. I'd rather have an easy question like the future of the American left. These fast food questions are like too high IQ for me right now. I just realized I can look at my OBS and play instead of looking at my monitor. And then I can see the chat. Why haven't I done this already? Wendy's over KFC and Subway is crazy in terms of being iconic. Well, KFC over Popeyes is crazy. And why is Subway in this conversation? That's why it's nuanced. There's different tiers of fast food and there's different cuisines. Like a burger fast food place versus a fried chicken fast food place versus Taco Bell. Okay, it's almost 10. I might wrap up the live soon. I have a video coming out tomorrow, though, on short form. And I have a couple... I should be posting more short form stuff. Okay, you're saying bigger as in, like, how iconic it is. When I'm thinking of top, I'm thinking, like, what's the best? Even if it's, like, slapped on. Because then, obviously, like, by far and away, McDonald's is, like, the most iconic food brand of all, period. Yeah, in that regard, we're talking McDonald's, Pizza Hut, KFC, and Burger King maybe would be the top. Right. Shake Shack is... Here's a hot take. Culver's is better than Shake Shack. And it's cheaper. Better sides. So I've never really felt like I need Shake Shack when there's Culver's.
burglars. Here we go. Am I interrupting? Yourself. Good. Y'all better think twice next time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up for today. I think we're done. Culver's is worth trying if you're ever in the Midwest. It's must-have food. It's really fucking good. Hold on. There's something I was gonna say before ending the live though. Release the video. Stop edging, bro. I'm not. That's actually crazy. I'm not gonna say that. The wait will be worth it. Okay. I've said it before. I'll say it again. And here's another thing I can say. It'll be out before my debate in Texas. It'll be out before then, for sure. That's on September 9th. So you have a... Maybe it'll be out way before then, maybe slightly before. I think it'll be out a decent amount before then. But if you want some rough timeline, I'm not going to go into that debate prepping while working on a video. This is going to be done. I'm also doing probably another debate soon on modern day debate online. Oh, and I'm doing a... It's not technically surrounded. It's like a 1 versus 10 on the Digital Social Hour in Vegas. I'm doing like Adam Khan versus 10 Republicans in October. Cool thing is it's right before midterms. I'm going to see if they can upload it like right in time for midterms. But late October, I'm doing like a surrounded style video where I'll be surrounded by 10 Republicans. And I get to pick my own prompts and stuff. So that'll be fun. Always want to do that. Seems like a fun challenge. And it's like, oh, I have ample MAGA debaters all around me. I don't know if you get fucking trolled by some 12-year-old. How about Tucker? I would debate Tucker, I guess. Tucker's popularity feels a little bit overstated to me, personally. What am I looking for? There we go. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned. I have a short form video coming out tomorrow and then YouTube stuff coming soon. And stay peaceful.